You ever have someone touch you and you feel a rush throughout your body?
Yes.
Like, I'm not talking any kind of rush. I'm talking the kind of rush that make Niagara Falls feel inferior.
What the fuck?
You got goosebumps popping on your arm, while the hair on the back of your neck praising to God. The beast within is clawing its way out in order to release those repressed urges locked down deep inside.
Huh?
No? Oh, well, that makes this intro really awkward then. Today we go back to one of my OGs. The title of this story is Touch to Unlock, and the name is pretty self-explanatory. But as I always do, let me give y'all a quick summary of how things start out. We follow the story of a young man named Shin Chiho. With a quick introduction to his character, we can see that things don't always turn out well for him. Since he was in high school, he's been bullied as an errand boy and a loner. His body is much weaker than his classmates, causing him to miss multiple days of school throughout the year. With all those days missed, he had barely made it to graduation by the skin of his teeth. However, even though he's graduating, he has nowhere to go since he's failed his college entrance exams. Bro can't even pay rent. Can y'all let this man breathe? The only thing that's truly kept him going was his childhood crush, Baek Lin, the star of the school whose medical working parents have paved a path of success for her to walk through without worry. Not to say she's had everything handed to her, as she's an extremely hard worker, but from the outside, you'd feel as though nothing goes wrong for her. Unfortunately, where there's a bright shining star, there's also a whopping black hole that's always nearby. Ju Hong, Chiho's bully for the past 12 years of his life. She excels in sports and has a confident personality. But like Chiho, she has also failed her college entrance exam, which shows her lack of strength for interest in academics. In order to cure her sour mood from dealing with school, she uses Chiho as her punching bag, sending him on errands for her, mocking his very existence, and at times flat out abuse him. It even continues 3 months later as they both attend the same prep center, where she makes sure he can't enjoy his postgraduate life or get close to anyone despite not getting to know him at all. Now, as you can see, Chiho's life is quite literally hell, but there's an unfortunate reason for that. Chiho's mom is a shaman, so she spends her days praying, answering, and blessing her customers. I know she can bless me. I mean, looking like that, It just so happens that when Chiho was a child, there was 7 women out there that shared worse fates than Chiho currently deals with. In fact, back then, he was actually pretty healthy and had a normal life, a lot more than an average person. So when these 7 women came to her for help, better yet, their parents or family, Chiho's mom had so little alternatives that she turned to the surefire one that helps the majority. Although, of course, you know, very hesitant to. And to do that, she would need her very own son. Since Chiho had such a surplus amount of good luck or positive energy, his mother, in order to help or save these women, transferred portions of Chiho's positive energy over to them. It helped these girls out immensely, but in return, Chiho had to live his life sickly and sad with that little positive energy that was left in him. Of course, his mother never wanted to go through with it because she knew the consequences it would have on her own child. However, their desperate pleas and even Chiho's sense of responsibility, she was left with no choice. Now the two live as mother and son, struggling to pay rent, since after that occurrence, her worldly famous abilities were somehow not the same anymore. So with not many trust in her skills anymore, they ended up tight for money. One day, Chiho comes home after prep school to an empty home, assuming his mother went out to get some extra cash. As he settles in, he goes into her shrine where she holds her prayers and decides it wouldn't hurt to pray for himself. He kneels down and asks for his mom to stay home more instead of taking on the burden to keep the house above ground. He then ends his prayer with one last request: to make his life just a little bit happier this year. He knocks out after criticizing himself for even trying prayer. But as he lays out on the floor, the room starts to brighten as light emanates from 7 boards, each with a character on them. As the light shines brighter, each ray travels over to Chiho on certain parts of his body. As he wakes up the next morning, he feels a sharp pain where a ray had taken its place as a hand mark on his cheek. He passes by Hong and Lin, who are walking to their respective schools, but Lin calls out to him due to her kind nature. In the process of greeting one another, Chiho's bad luck shines once again. He trips on the smallest pebble known to man and tackles Lin like Myles Garrett on 3rd down. And in quick succession, Hong, in a blinding rage, smacks Chiho so many times you would have thought she's star platinum. But one smack speaks louder than the others as she directly plants her palm in that same spot as that ray shining on his cheek. As she does, a flashbang stretches throughout the streets and Hong's hand is buzzing and shaking, wondering what the hell just happened. But the most important question she asks herself is, why is it buzzing down there? Now, you can already assume what's gonna happen next, right? If not, I'll break it down for story's sake, as each female touches the respective shine of light on Chiho's body, vice versa, and yes, it can be anywhere. The respective area that the woman has used to touch will have an electrifying sensation as it brings them into heat. They can fight the feeling all they want. but they cannot break out the heat until they reach climax from Chiho. The more detailed description is a bit much for me to say, so I'ma let you think about it yourself. But as you're listening to me speak, you may be wondering why this is all happening. That is because as Chiho had made the wish to have a happy life this year, he's been granted that and then some so he can achieve happiness for his whole life in the future. Now Chiho has the opportunity to get the energy he gave out back. And to do so, he must find each woman who has claimed his energy when he was young and take it back through intimate means. Another important factor with this process, much to my dismay, is that once the energy is taken, the girls wake up the next day with almost no recollection of their feelings towards Chiho unless they are actually in love with him. So a lot of ships sail on this one, I'm not gonna lie. Like, well, you know what I mean? They sink. they sink, not sail. They sink hard. Some harder more than others, so be prepared. Now, as always, we gotta do positives and negatives. This time, we're gonna start with the negatives. I'll be honest, dude. I genuinely don't think that I can think of one. I think the only thing that bums me out about the series is that each girl getting their own story, only one gets to finish it with the MC. This negative is all about personal preference, and in all honesty, I don't even care about it that much because I was very satisfied with it. Because something that's very important to me when it comes to manhwa is logic. And yes, I know that a lot of adult manhwas out there don't follow a logical storyline, which is why I've dropped a lot of them. However, there's plenty out there that are illogical that I very much enjoy, but that's only because they make it a point to let you know that this would never happen. If, like in this instance, you have a story involving college kids attending school, working jobs, and finding love doesn't have logic, I'm never going to enjoy it. If you expect a harem out this manhwa like this, you are severely mistaken and should just read Stepmother Friends. Now, let's get to the positives. Where should I even start? To be honest, I would say the characters would be the best part of the series, and no, I'm not just saying because they're hot. Well, I mean, they are, but like, but everyone in this manhwa can get their own personal arc. Some more than others, of course, but in the end, everyone gets their chance to show their own story told. They show all their hardships and overcomings as well as their deep connections to Chiho. You'll have moments reading this when you've moved on to the next girl, and you can't stop thinking about the previous one and how Chiho should have stayed. To segue away from the characters, I must say that they make this plot beautiful to read through. Unlike many series, Touch to Unlock is able to go through the story without many distractions. Everything done has purpose to fuel the plot itself and will be touched upon down the line. Not to mention how captivating it becomes in such a short amount of time. The moment you get the first connection between Hong and Chiho, you know you're in it for the long run. And even when you think this is just a series for, you know, like that you can simply enjoy, it has plenty of weight to it as well. While Chiho goes on his quest to get his luck back, you also have to keep in mind that the luck is leaving this girl. So if you're a Division 1 athlete competing for the NCAAs, you may end up significantly weaker the next day or even tear some muscles. So while Chiho goes to get his energy back, he can't just think about himself, but the other party as well. Do I put this person's livelihood in jeopardy, or is it time for me to start living? Personally, I know there's only one correct answer. Now next, the MC. I'm very particular about the main character's stories, as y'all already know. If the guy is rude, creepy, or indecisive to a T, this story is not for me. I like Chiho because throughout the series, he may change physically, but he never changes as a person. Besides gaining a little more self-respect for himself, Chiho stays humble and kind to those around him. He indulges in intimacy, but all the while being respectful of each individual woman. I have a lot of respect for him because even though he was bullied for a majority of his life and he has power over these girls, he chooses to do what's right and releases them from their personal torment and getting them back onto their regular lives. Reading a lot of manhwa, this series could have turned out very different. Now next, the art has a certain allure to it that's difficult to explain because in all honesty, everyone's built like a One Piece character in this. Tiny waist, big boobs, poppin' booty, like the anatomy is blasphemous. But all the while, everyone has their attractive points to them. I think the best thing is the eyes. They pop right out in your face and demand your attention. Other than that, the scenes, oh, they spicy alright. I can't even lie, I feel like the dialogue is spicier. What they be saying, I'm reading, I'm like, what did you just say? I don't know, man. I'm so invested in this series, I just can't help it. And now that we're done with the positives and negatives, it is time for the ranking.
Nice.
Now at the bottom, I'm sure a lot of people expected this. We have your girl, Ye Rina.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Now, Rina was cool, but I'm gonna be honest, there wasn't that much special about her. She was always timid and scared of anything that crosses her path. Now, I'll admit though, she was absolutely adorable, and you had a feeling of wanting to protect her. I did enjoy her little story that she had with the sunbays in her college club, you know, like working on herself, doing part-time work, trying to build her own confidence, more of her standing up for herself and becoming her own person. But at the end of the day, I'ma be real, Rina's character as a whole did not really contribute much to the series as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry. Now, after Rina, we got Yoon Ji-won. Now, Ji-won is clearly the most appealing physically, right? But I'ma be real, I think that's all she got going for herself. She was the doctor in charge of Chiho when he had hospitalized himself out of fear for his condition. She was a very nervous but knowledgeable woman who would stumble over her own feet. She was given a small portion of Chiho's energy due to her benign curse of embarrassment, so she needed it the least and probably could have functioned just fine without it. Well, fine is a strong term, because this girl goes through her day like Tamaki from Fire Force. I don't know how you end up in these situations, but all I know is I wouldn't mind being a part of it. One of the best things about her though is despite her airheadedness, when she was affected by Chiho, she comes off very aggressive and clearly knows what she's doing. But at the same time, she stays being so adorable, like no matter what she does, can't help but feel some type of way. Coming right off of G1, we have the Olympian Sol. And when it comes to Sol, I would simply say that she is the most normal girl out of all of them, despite being an Olympian level athlete. But that's exactly where the problem lies. She's just too normal. In fact, the main reason she's this high up is due to her partner in crime, Minche, who brings out the more fun and exciting side of her, which unfortunately only results in her being jealous or argumentative. But at the end of the day, her skills as a gymnast translate easily into bed, so I can't hate. And as you would expect, right after Sol, we have Ha Minche. You can't hate Minche. This is literally Nami in webtoon form. She's confident, proud, and has a slamming boss. So slamming, in fact, that she had to give up gymnastics and become a K-pop idol because the medicine balls wasn't the only thing bouncing on that mat. You want to talk One Piece build? Just look at Minche, because she's literally renowned for her breast sitting on top of that toothpick of a waist. But for real though, Minche is not just her body, as her personality shines as the small playful star that doesn't stop until she gets what she wants. Whether it comes down to Chiho or her career, she will go the distance if it means that she wins. Alright, coming up to the bronze medal. It pains me to do this, but we have Chun So-hee. Now, most animes, mangas, or even games, I find myself rooting for the teacher to win when it comes to romance. A little self-projecting, if you will. And So-hee is a prime example of why I root for the teacher. The way she carries herself as a person, the way she walks with such authority over others, and the way she takes charge once the switch is flipped is something that I need in my life. The way she connects with Chiho is all you need to see to understand what kind of girl we getting into. This woman is a freaky deaky wiki. She bold enough to even mess with the man in class. All things considered too, just the fact that you have an older woman gunning for you this hard, I don't blame her though, considering the type of man she has to deal with back at home. But if it was up to me, she is a valid contender for the #1 spot. Now we got second place. Oof. Okay, so this one right here is probably the most back and forth choice for best girl that I have ever seen in my life reading manhwa, and it's an extremely valid battle at that. Number 2, we have Baek Lin. Let's be real, we all had the feeling that Lin was gonna be the one from the get-go, considering that she was Chiho's crush ever since they were young. Not to mention, she seemed to be the only one that's completely indifferent to his misfortune and looks. She treated him just like any other person. Well, maybe not like any other person, but the fact of the matter is that she would openly show him kindness whenever she would get the chance. And I think we have all come to the agreement that Baek Lin is true wife material. She's kind, she's self-sufficient, she's understanding, she's hungry, she cooks, she cleans, she provides, and loves with all her heart. There is truly no better choice for best girl than Lin herself. That is, if this was someone else's list. One thing people will realize about me when they watch this series I do on YouTube is that I am not just in it for the spice. In fact, I am much more in it for the story. And that's exactly what the #1 pick provides. The gold medal goes to Ju Hong. The main reason why is because she provides us with her own story. She wasn't always meant to be the bully in his life, but due to gaining his energy at the lowest point in her life, she was able to grow strong, confident, and arrogant with the price of forgetting a dear friend. By the beginning, she bullies him. By the middle, she grows interest in him. Towards the end, she loves him. And it may start out as a relationship of lust, but it becomes so much more than that down the line, to the point where Hong realizes that Chiho is the one thing that she cannot just let go go and give to Lin. She has to fight for it, and I love that scene so much. What's that? What's that noise? Oh, you thought it was over? No. You thought I was talking about Rena as a whole before? You make me sick. Knight Rena is the #1 spot. She might as well be the top spot for almost all women in manhwa. This girl has suffered so much with a curse that forces her to lust after men she doesn't even care about. That is until she finds our main character, Chiho. The day the connection was formed, it was like seeing things clearly for the first time in her life. She started to believe that she can be happy too and not just have to live for such dirty means. Now she can live for love. She leaves her past behind her and decides Chiho can help her achieve true happiness in life, and the two decide to go out with one another. And to be honest, these two seemed like such an ideal couple. It was saddening to know that it was not going to last. Everything they did when in a relationship seemed so natural, and despite the two having experienced their own lives with different partners, they were able to create a relationship built on trust as well. With so much love and care being put into the two, their final scenes are enough to make a grown man cry. Knowing full well that Knight and Rena can continue living in this world, they share the most intimate moments together before finally saying farewell, and we will never forget you, Knight Rena. Now y'all, that is the end of the video. What do you guys think of Touch to Unlock? If you haven't before, let me know if you're gonna read it. But if you have read it already, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your list of best girls. Let me know your positives. Let me know your negatives. And if you want to see one of your favorite manhwas in this series, drop the name down below and I will get to it. Once again, thank y'all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Love y'all. Take it easy.